Tonight, the NDP accuses the province of allowing used tires to pile up near Clavette. One victim feels RPS is not doing enough when it comes to breach of trust and trading heavy snow for extreme cold.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The provincial government has settled a major lawsuit launched by Sheercom Industries over loss of a tire recycling contract. But the NDP opposition says there are other problems ahead, pointing to a growing stockpile of scrap tires near Saskatoon that the opposition says can be seen on satellite images. Wayne Mantika has more.
Saskatchewan's scrap tire recycling program has been plagued with problems in recent years after Saskatoon's Sheercom Industries lost the recycling contract. It was awarded to recyclers from the U.S. and Eastern Canada. Now the NDP say scrap tires are piling up near Clavette.
So high that we can once again see them from space.
Earlier this week, the province agreed to pay $4.8 million to settle a lawsuit with Sheercom Industries after the former recycler launched a lawsuit alleging unfair exclusion from contract bidding. In a written statement, the province said it was not admitting liability, but the province believes that resolving this matter at this stage provides greater certainty and stability for the scrap tire recycling industry and benefits Saskatchewan residents. Sheercom says it's relieved matters have come to an end and that it is prepared to move forward. The company now focuses on manufacturing.
We make a multitude of products, from parking curbs to curb ramps, rubber paving, and currently we are employing just shy of 100 people.
The NDP says the government is to blame for what happened to Sheercom's recycling division.
It's another example of the Sask party killing jobs. They've basically paid $5 million to kill 100 Saskatchewan jobs at a local company out of Saskatoon, and tire recycling for the province is still a mess.
Sheercom couldn't comment yet on how the company might grow its operations in Saskatchewan. It's an industry that relies on several factors, including an adequate supply of raw materials. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A teenage boy has been charged with second-degree murder after a death on the Star Blanket Cree Nation. Early Wednesday morning, the File Hills First Nation Police Service responded to a report of a homicide at a residence on the Star Blanket Cree Nation. A male teen was arrested at the scene. Saskatchewan RCMP have taken over the investigation as File Hills First Nations police do not have a major crimes unit. Because the accused and the victim knew each other, the victim will not be identified. The youth did appear in court earlier today. A bail hearing for a Saskatoon man with a history of spying on women has been rescheduled. 37-year-old Kyle Hamiluk was previously convicted on 70 incidents of voyeurism, indecent acts, and trespassing at night. Just hours after being released from jail, he was arrested for allegedly breaching his conditions using a cell phone with a camera. Hamiluk will remain behind bars at the Saskatoon Correctional Centre until his hearing, which is scheduled for Tuesday. Supreme Court of Canada says it will not hear an appeal over a case involving a Saskatchewan man who ties to the Canadian Nationalist Political Party. In February of 2024, Travis Patron was convicted in Saskatoon of criminal harassment and failure to comply with a probation order. The offenses happened at a shopping mall where Patron confronted an off-duty police officer about the officer's relationship with his girlfriend, noting their different ancestries. He appealed his conviction to the Saskatchewan Court of Appeal, alleging failure of disclosure led to an unfair trial, but it was dismissed. He then appealed to the Supreme Court of Canada, but today the country's highest court said it would not hear that appeal. A Saskatchewan woman who had her privacy breached by a Regina police officer says not enough is being done to prevent similar breaches from happening in the future. The woman, who CTV News has agreed not to identify due to privacy concerns, was one of 6 people who had their personal information accessed by Regina Police Constable Clinton Duquette over a 3-year period. The woman was in a relationship with Duquette and working at RPS for much of that time, and told CTV News that among the others who had their privacy breached were her sibling and a former partner. Duquette was the subject of a report from Saskatchewan's Information and Privacy Commissioner released in December. Regina Police said earlier this month they have already adopted or are in the process of adopting 8 of the 9 recommendations made by the Privacy Commissioner. But Duquette's access to the police database will not be revoked.
I respectfully disagree with this recommendation on the basis that permanent revocation of access to eyes would effectively prevent an employee from performing their core duties, and that would amount to dismissal. The decision on discipline on that case has already been made and cannot be revisited. Number 3,
That was Chief Lorley Davies speaking after former Sergeant Robert Semenchuk was sentenced on charges that stem from a separate breach. Regina Police declined an interview with CTV News on Duquette's case, commenting only on the Privacy Commissioner's report following Semenchuk's sentencing. We have more details on the woman's account of the breach online at ctvnews.ca/Regina. It's another weekend of reduced hours for Regina's Urgent Care Centre. The centre will close 5.5 hours earlier than its normal operating hours on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. That means anyone needing urgent medical care after 4 p.m. and before 8 a.m. through the weekend should go to either of Regina's 2 hospitals instead, the General or Pasqua. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says the adjustments are to accommodate doctor availability and staffing holidays. The normal hours of 8 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. return on Monday. Well, following another blast of winter, many Saskatchewan communities are digging out from 15 to 20 centimeters of fresh snow. Colder temperatures now settling into Saskatchewan for the weekend. In terms of snowfall totals, Regina had about 17 to 20 centimeters, according to Environment Canada, while Saskatoon had 19 centimeters. Prince Albert, 35 centimeters, while the village of Prudhoe, the most northeast of Saskatoon, they had 52 centimeters. Wind gusts across the province capped out at 94 kilometers per hour. That happened in the Weyburn region. All right, Sabine joins us now for our first look at weather. So we've got rid of tons of snow. It's not going to fall, at least not today.
No.
Wind's not that bad, but it's the cold that's really putting a hamper on things.
Yeah, many parts of southern Saskatchewan, especially this morning, woke up to some extreme cold warnings that had gone into effect. Wind chill values in the -40s. Those have cleared out for the Regina area, but we're still seeing them in effect for many parts of the province still. I'll talk more about that coming up in your full forecast. But if we take a look at what our average daytime highs are, well, we were enjoying them about a week ago. -5, -6 is what the daytime high is today. We warmed up to -21. The wind chill values have remained in the -30s, especially in the Regina area. The low was -27, and again, if you were starting out your day first thing in the morning, we were looking at wind chill values in about -42 range. So the one thing I want to point out, last year our daytime high was -23, so we're very close to what we were looking at last year. There is a warm up on the way though, Lee, and I'll have all the details on when exactly that'll happen. Spoiler alert, it's not this weekend.
Thank you, Sabine. Yeah, take that 2025. Following the latest blast of snow, a reminder to drivers to clear your vehicle before hitting the road.
In Saskatchewan, we do tend to see a lot of snow. Some big snowstorms come through, so it is very important for motorists to remove snow and ice from their vehicles. And if they don't, they can face a fine.
Now, drivers must have a clear front, side, and rear view. Failing to properly clear snow or ice can result in a $125 fine under the Traffic Safety Act. The Saskatoon Police Service say visibility is only as good as your worst window. As for sidewalks, property owners are required to clear their walkway surrounding their home within 48 hours of a snowfall. In Saskatoon, they investigate complaints, and repeat violations could result in tickets or costs added to your property tax bill. Now, the snow was pretty significant enough in Prince Albert that the public transit users had to adjust their travel plans after the city closed several bus routes. Jasmine Pelche has the details.
This week's blizzard left Prince Albert blanketed in more than a foot of snow and left transit users with limited options. Wednesday afternoon, the city announced it was shutting down bus operations. On Thursday, the city announced the West Hill, East Flat, all day and rush hour routes were operating with reduced stops.
We've had to make a decision about, safety for our riders, safety for our drivers, and, some of the streets just aren't clear or safe enough right now for our buses to go through.
The West Flat, East Hill, and Core Express routes were not in operation Thursday. In a news release, Director of Public Works Jeff De Silva said the roadways crew has been working long hours to keep up with the heavy snowfall, needing to return to emergency routes that had already cleared. They worked 16 hours yesterday and started again early this morning, and that the crew will be working as many hours as safely possible to keep traffic moving. Transit routes are cleared once all emergency routes are operational, and snow removal is ongoing.
We're hoping by Monday that things should be operating as normal. Another thing I want to add is we have a contractor that cleans out the bus stops. We've been in contact with them, so they're also working to clear out the bus stops as we speak as well.
Parking on designated snow routes is prohibited, and the city's snow route parking ban has been extended until 4 p.m. Saturday. Transit users can track active transit routes and snow clearing operations through the city website. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
City of Saskatoon is looking at a potential permanent location for a year-round drop-in center to help the city's homeless population. CTV's Keenan Sorokon has the details on a property the city is considering buying.
After years of searching for a long-term, year-round warm-up shelter for people living on the street, the city thinks it's finally found the right building.
It has been a challenge over the years to find locations. The city only really got into this in the last few years. And these types of facilities, do generate quite a bit of interest.
This building on Idlewild Drive is being proposed as a drop-in center. The city is looking to buy the building for $1.6 million and could move in as early as May to start renovating it to be open by November. The city just recently bought this building on Avenue C for the exact same purpose in the fall, but councillors concerned about concentrating social services in one area of town only approved its operations until the end of next month because the center is right next door to the Salvation Army's shelter.
The individuals that are experiencing homelessness, not having any stability in where they can access services, I can imagine that's incredibly challenging as well.
The Saskatoon Tribal Council, which runs the center, has had to move across many temporary locations the last couple of years and hopes this new find puts an end to that.
It is frustrating, but I think now hopefully we can get to a point where we can actually build off of this new location, permanent location, and really put in some good quality infrastructure to have good outcomes and results.
Renovations like adding appropriate washrooms, showers, and laundry connections would cost an additional $350,000. And even after it's ready, Arcand says the city shouldn't rush to sell the Avenue C building.
I don't think we throw it out yet. I think we might have to utilize it for more supports and just really making sure that it's a good backup plan.
City Council will vote on the purchase next week. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, multiple watch parties were held across the city on Thursday for the Olympics women's hockey gold medal game between the U.S. and Canada. Fans, of course, donning their red and white jerseys in support of the team at local sports spots like Multinational and Boston Pizza. The game might have been low scoring, but quite intense. Canadians held on to a 1-0 lead until the Americans tied it late in the final 2 minutes. And unfortunately, the USA would go on to win a thriller in overtime.
Just even the way they started overtime, they just didn't really have the zip. They picked it up through overtime, but 3-on-3 is a game of puck control, and it went back and forth, and both teams had an opportunity, and in this case, the U.S. scored, so game's over.
He did go on to add that Canadians should hold their heads high and that he thoroughly enjoyed watching the game. That's a tough one. Well, it's an important time of year for certain religions. Western Christians are in the midst of Lent, 7 weeks of prayer, fasting, and donations to worthy causes. Muslims also observing Ramadan, a month of prayer, fasting, and focusing on community. Damien Smith has more.
Muslims in Regina are gathering for Dahur on the first few days of Ramadan.
So, as you may know, Islam is made up of 5 pillars. We pray before sunrise, just after the sun has reached its highest point, before sunset, after sunset, and at night.
For around 12 hours of the day, they are not supposed to eat or drink, and changes have to be made to their everyday lifestyle to teach discipline and empathy.
During this month of Ramadan, we must ensure that we have something that is known as suhoor or sehri in the morning, which is it's basically breakfast before the time for Fajr sets in.
As daylight lasts a little longer each day, Muslims get used to the schedule as they believe it will bring more spiritual growth.
And I slowly wing it off, getting ready for Ramadan, because to go from eating 2-3 times a day to eating barely nothing, it hits you.
As the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, the month reflects on prayers and focusing on community.
It's a constant reminder for you throughout the day that maybe you should watch what you do, you should watch what you say, you should watch how you treat other people.
Spiritually, it brings you more close to the Creator, close to the Allah, time and chance more to connect with the people.
The last day of Ramadan is in mid-March, which is immediately followed by the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, former Prince Andrew is released after being arrested over ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And concerns over a U.S. conflict in Iran as President Trump's Board of Peace meets in the capital. A blockbuster moment in British and royal history. The King's brother, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, arrested by police on his 66th birthday and later released. He's under investigation for misconduct related to allegations that as special British trade envoy, he shared sensitive information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Abigail Bimman has more.
Police stand outside Sandringham Estate, home to former Prince Andrew, later seen leaving a police station in this vehicle. The arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office comes after police said they were looking into allegations Mountbatten Windsor had passed on documents to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while he was working as a trade envoy.
It truly is a seismic moment for this country, and I think for the monarchy as well.
Sir, what's your reaction to your brother's arrest?
King Charles wasn't answering questions Thursday about his little brother, but released a statement saying he learned the news with the deepest concern and the law must take its course. Mountbatten Windsor spent a decade as trade envoy. He made about a dozen visits to Canada in that period. Emails released in the Epstein files suggest he shared UK government reports in 2010. Mountbatten Windsor has always denied wrongdoing.
Whether those details that were passed on by Andrew to Epstein were all part of his job and part of his responsibilities, well, that's an open question. However, the official guidance for trade envoys was that they have a duty of confidentiality.
The family of Virginia Giuffre says the arrest is a win for Epstein victims. She died by suicide in May and in 2022 settled a lawsuit accusing the former prince of sexually abusing her as a teenager.
I think we're very hopeful that this is the start of the domino effect. This is where the house of cards starts falling.
Police released a short statement after the former prince was seen leaving the police station, saying he was released under investigation with some police searches of royal property still underway. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The federal government is taking another step toward a potential expansion of the Port of Churchill. Ottawa, along with the Manitoba government and other partners, is launching a market-sounding study on how road, rail, and port improvements might attract more business from exporters. It's expected to consult senior executives in mining, energy, grain, and other sectors to gauge their interest in using the facilities with improved infrastructure.
We want to see a base commodity that can power this infrastructure for the next generation. That might be LNG. It might be another product, but I am talking about LNG because I want Manitobans to start thinking about that.
An expanded port could include an energy corridor and an all-weather road to Churchill. The new study is due to wrap up next month. Representatives of 40 countries attended the U.S. President Trump's first meeting of his Board of Peace in Washington. Notable key allies like Canada, the UK, France, Germany, even the Vatican were not there or they opted out. While the focus was on rebuilding Gaza, all eyes are on a massive military buildup headed to Iran. Joy Malbin has more from Washington, D.C.
The president calls this his crowning achievement in the newly named Donald J. Trump U.S. Institute of Peace, convening his first Board of Peace. With representatives from 40 nations, $7 billion was pledged towards rebuilding war-torn Gaza, just a fraction of what's needed.
Rafah fully rebuilt.
Showing a video of what Gaza could become, Hamas still has not disarmed, and Israel continues to strike during this fragile ceasefire.
Peace
It's called the Board of Peace, and it's all about an easy word to say, but a hard word to produce: peace.
But the president's talk of peace being overshadowed as the U.S. readies for possible war with Iran. Flight tracking shows a massive U.S. war machine is taking shape in the Middle East. Hundreds of jet fighters and warships sent to the region. The president, who promised no more foreign wars, prepared to strike, he says, unless Iran ends its nuclear ambitions.
Now is the time for Iran to join us. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen.
After Trump claimed in June that Operation Hammer obliterated Iran's nuclear abilities, Trump has hinted at regime change. And after Iran's deadly crackdown on protesters, the president promised help was on the way. Showing military drills on state TV, Iran warns that any U.S. attack would trigger retaliation like never before. The president says he's giving negotiations in Geneva a chance, but set a timeline, giving Tehran the next 10 to 15 days to make a deal. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Coming up, honoring missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls with a new exhibit at the RCMP Heritage Center.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at what your forecast is looking at like heading into tonight and what's to come for the next few days. Still snowy out there. It's not melting anytime soon. I have been asked, when is it going away? We got to wait a while. Minus 22 is what we're sitting at right now, with the wind chill at minus 34, winds just over 20 kilometers an hour. We're going to continue to see those frigid temperatures as we head into the weekend. Now, fortunately, we did start off the day, especially in parts of southern Saskatchewan, including Regina, with those extreme cold warnings. Those have lifted for our area, but we have seen some new ones be issued just late this evening or early this evening in areas including Saskatoon, Prince Albert, Meadow Lake, and again with basically the note saying that we're going to see those wind chill values back in the minus 40s. For tonight, we're still looking at wind chill values in the high minus 30s, and that's expected to continue as we head into tomorrow as well. Not a whole lot to show you when it comes to active weather for what's to come over the weekend. Well, over tomorrow and into the weekend. Doesn't look like we have much snowfall coming in the next little while, and there is a warm up on the way, and you'll see it in the 7-day forecast. But if we take a look at what's to come, really it's just mostly cloud cover continuing to roll in and out of the province. So we will see a mix of sun and cloud conditions, and we will also see a little bit of that scattered flurries in the Swift Current Assiniboia area, but it's not a big system that's going to be leaving any more than what we've already experienced over the last day or so. In terms of temperatures, though, we will start to see that gradual warm up. It's not until we get past this weekend. So still expecting to see the wind chill values in the minus 20s for the daytime highs, and then into the minus 30s for the lows. And again, up in La Loche, we're expecting a low of minus 33, still adding on probably about another 5 degrees. So minus 38 is what the wind chill will be looking like up there. Minus 18 for a daytime high for La Loche and Lloydminster tomorrow, and for Prince Albert tomorrow. Minus 17 for L'Orange. Minus 20 mainly sunny for Saskatoon tomorrow. Minus 19 for North Battleford with a mix of sun and cloud. Yorkton minus 18 with a mix of sun and cloud. And down in the southwest, not really much warmer. Again, for reference, the daytime highs, especially in the southwest, you're usually sitting at about minus 5, minus 6. Minus 13 for Maple Creek tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud. Minus 11 mainly sunny for Swift Current, and minus 15 for Moose Jaw with a mix of sun and cloud. The southeast, similar temperatures. Minus 17 for Weyburn and for Estevan and Assiniboia, minus 12. Tonight for the Regina area, minus 24. Winds not too bad, but still expect the wind chill value close to the minus 30s. I want to say last I checked was about minus 32. Tomorrow, warming to minus 19. Wind chill value still expected to be in the mid minus 20s tomorrow as well, but still a lot more sunshine expected to stick around into the weekend as well. And this is what your next 7 days is looking like. So see There is a warm-up on the way. We just got to fight through this weekend. -19 tomorrow, mainly sunny. -19 and nothing but sunshine Saturday with the winds picking up to about 30 kilometers an hour. Again, keeping in mind the lows tomorrow, Friday, -27. The low on Saturday, -26. The wind chill values will still have it feeling more in the -30s. By Sunday, -17, sunny. The low starting to warm up to -19, getting closer to that seasonal range. Monday, -8, a mix of sun and cloud. Cooling back down to -10 on Tuesday with mostly cloudy conditions. And then the moment we've been waiting for. By Wednesday, mostly cloudy, expecting a high of -6 with a low of -8. And then by Thursday, warming to -1 with a low of -10. So we do have the next couple of days. Like I said, the weekend we got to get through. Stay warm, stay bundled up if you don't have to be outside. Active weather, as of right now, we're in the clear. It's just these really cold temperatures before that warm-up returns.
We're close, though.
So close.
So close.
I mean, it was nice to experience that first spring, but the real spring is on its way. We just got to wait it out.
Yeah, March is just around the corner.
That's right.
Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, the RCMP Heritage Centre is not shying away from the historical and present-day difficulties regarding RCMP and Indigenous relations. In recent years, they have held various exhibitions addressing Indigenous history and issues, including murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. Mick Fable tells us more.
Over 100 red dresses in a formation similar to the Canadian flag now on display at the RCMP Heritage Centre. Each red dress includes a face representing a missing or murdered Indigenous woman or girl. For the two artists who led the project, they hope those that view the piece walk away feeling more aware of a major issue impacting Indigenous peoples across the country.
When we bring awareness, we have to also bring action. And when we bring action, we can bring protection. And I feel like the more people are aware of this issue in Canada, the more that people can help.
Tracy George Hayes and Justine Stillborn led the Togetherness project. They received help from a number of Regina students to complete the art piece. The title of Togetherness means a lot of things, particularly among Canadians who share the same history.
Whether it's, positive or negative, whether or not we are honest and truthful about that history, we still share it. And so whatever you call yourself, it doesn't have to be Canadian, but you have to recognize that we still share a history.
The RCMP Heritage Centre is a place focused on discovery, exploration, reflection, and reconciliation. These types of projects are a part of a strategic plan the centre has in place as they continue their journey of reconciliation.
It's really an honor for us to be able to facilitate and to create these programs to ensure that students are learning. Really at the core of these programs, we are hoping that we can help students see the ways in which we can all create a better future together.
The creators of the exhibit hope those that view the piece see it as a memorial and as a way to move forward.
I feel like the work that we've done with the RCMP is not just educating the public, but it's also educating the RCMP. It's educating the different systems from the inside.
Creating relationships and conversations in a new, meaningful way. Mick Fable, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, with the double touch controversy overshadowing the curling event in Italy, what do curlers think at the university and collegiate national championships in Regina? Well, it was mixed emotions today for Saskatchewan sports fans. It was heartbreak for Saskatoon's Emily Clark and the women's hockey team, losing gold to the U.S. in overtime, while Regina's Ben Hebert and the men's curling team booked their ticket into the gold medal game on the weekend. Scott Hurst has a recap.
Team USA is the Olympic champion in women's hockey. It is a devastating loss for the Canadian women, who are looking to end a 7-game losing streak to their rivals. Canada will still leave Milano Cortina with a silver medal. The win for the Americans puts them back on top of the podium after losing the gold medal match to Canada at the Beijing Games 4 years ago.
It's so enormous, the Olympic Games, right? Every shift, every period.
Heading into the game, fans on both sides were ready to witness another chapter in this bitter rivalry, and it was Canada who allowed their fans to believe first. No goals in the opening frame, but very early in the second period, the red and white opened the scoring, while Team USA was on the power play. 27-year-old Kristen O'Neill from Oakville, Ontario, put Canada in the lead with the shorthanded goal, only the second goal Team USA had allowed all tournament. But late in the third, with just over 2 minutes to go, the USA finally broke through. America's captain Hillary Knight with the equalizer, and it would stay tied through the end of regulation. In overtime, it was Megan Keller for the Americans with the golden goal. Despite the loss for Canada, this rivalry continues to push the women's game to new heights.
These women are great athletes. They train hard, they prepare hard, they love the game, they have a passion for it.
With Canada's latest silver, it boosts our overall medal count to 15 with more podium opportunities on Friday. However, much of the attention will be back on hockey, a semi-final versus Finland. The Canadian men will get the chance to punch their ticket to the gold medal game. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
Now, they didn't mention a men's curling team, but yes, they did win their semifinal today versus Norway in an extra end. So they advanced to the gold medal game. They will face Great Britain, a team that kind of started off bad, but will continue to try to get things going. Rachel Homan and the women's curling team have also advanced to the semifinals. We'll see how they do. Now, it appears that Canada's men's curling team has moved on from their double touch controversy from earlier in the event, but it still has people in the sport talking. And that includes participants at the U Sports Collegiate Curling Championships here in Regina. Donovan Mace has more.
Thousands of rocks are making their way down the ice at the Cali Curling Club for this year's National University and Collegiate Championships. But how many have been double touched? Have you ever double touched a rock?
Can't say that I have.
I don't want to say yes, but you get a few where the finger drags.
If I did it, it's probably not helping at all. I'd probably make it drastically worse.
A lesser known rule pushing curling into the headlines earlier this week. It states any touching of the stone after delivery between the tee line and opposite hog line results in the removal of the rock from play. At the Olympics in Italy, Canadian third Mark Kennedy accused by Team Sweden of poking a stone after it was delivered. The controversy continuing after Canada's Rachel Homan and Britain's Bobby Lammy each had stones removed from play for violations.
I'm sure when you're in the zone and you're throwing like that, you don't. I mean, if I think I throw something well, I don't pay any attention to what my hand's doing. I'm sure I've grazed granite before.
Your hand comes off really gently, sometimes aggressively, so it's always possible.
2012 Scotties champion and current University of Alberta coach Jessica Admonson says most curlers aren't focused on grazing rocks after delivery.
It's not even a discussion for us. I think it could have been an accident, it could have been, I don't know, but it's not something we even think about.
Curlers agree, however, the story has been good for the sport.
Maybe it doesn't look the best for Canada, but it's bringing a ton of attention to the sport, and I think it's making people excited and interested.
That's certainly given curling a center stage position, which is kind of fun to see.
It's nice. Everyone's talking about curling, so I love seeing the memes too. I think it's hilarious. So, no, we really enjoyed it.
Donovan Mace, CTV News, Regina.
Now, as for the competition, the U of R women are on a roll after an opening draw loss. They have now won 3 in a row. They defeated Memorial University out of Newfoundland, a team which includes Brad Gushu's daughter, Hannah. They beat them 7-6 this afternoon to improve to 3-1.
Playing well, and we'll just keep progressing every game. We're hoping the ice is fantastic, and we're really catching on right now. And yeah, we're hoping to just finish off the round robin as well as we can. Whatever happens, we'll be proud of ourselves because we played well this week.
As for the men, a little different Nationals week so far. They are winless at 0-4. The championships wrap up on Saturday. Prince Albert Raiders were not in action last night, but 2 Raiders were representing the Eastern Conference at the 2026 WHL Prospects game. And for Raider fans, it was a familiar face playing hero in overtime.
Stretch pass to Rudolph with a little bit of space, moving in, cuts in front and scores! 14 seconds in, and Team East gets the 5-4 overtime win.
Yeah, Team East captain Daxon Rudolph, the hero, 14 seconds in, winning 5-4 their team in Langley last night. Raiders goalie Michael Orsolak was strong in the first half of the game, stopping all 14 shots he faced. Team West came back with 3 goals in the third to force overtime, but Team East got the win. They'd also featured some Southern Saskatchewan players, Swift Current's Sawyer Dingman, Regina's Zachary Lansard, and Moose Jaw's Riley Thorpe. Still ahead, looking for ways to reduce the expense on hockey sticks.
Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. Cold temperatures continue, and we will start to see more pockets of sunshine, but still cloudier conditions for some areas like Hudson Bay and Lloydminster and Kindersley. Still expecting to see those temperatures in the mid-teens. -17 for Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, and Outlook, seeing mainly sunny conditions. -21 for Wynyard, a mix of sun and cloud, and Melfort and Watrous getting to -20 degrees. Closer to the southern border, temperatures are kind of warmer, but still cold. -13 for Easton, Cypress, and Maple Creek. -14 and cloudy for Leader. -18 for Kenora. -19 for Broadview. -17 for Carlisle. And Lumsden and Pilot Butte, seeing nothing but mainly sunny conditions. -19 is the expected daytime high. And if we take a closer look at Kalonze, which is located just southeast of Saskatoon, they are under the extreme cold warning right now. -22 is the expected daytime high, with a wind chill of -38 tomorrow. Expecting mainly sunny conditions, but heading into the overnight tomorrow night, expect those wind chills to get back into the mid-30s.
If you play hockey or have children in the sport, you know it can be a bit costly, especially if you need to replace expensive hockey sticks. Pat Foran has more on how you can avoid having sticks trip you up financially.
Brody. Back for Nylander, shoots it. When one of the Toronto Maple Leafs breaks a stick, they skate to the bench to get a new one. Sticks often self-destruct at the wrong time, and when it happens in recreational and minor hockey games, they're expensive to replace.
Where do sticks typically break?
Well, honestly, they're
everywhere.
Everywhere and anywhere.
Rod Daigle of Mississauga has 2 sons in AAA hockey. Like many parents, he was getting frustrated with his growing stick budget.
When a stick costs anywhere from $380 to $450, and you need to have 3 or 4 in a season, that adds up.
Most composite hockey sticks only come with a 30-day warranty. Daigle says it seemed like many would break not long after the warranty expired, so he devised a way to repair them.
I received this goalie stick yesterday, asked to be repaired, and you see the shaft is snapped here, so that should be a pretty straightforward repair.
Daigle says shafts are easier to fix than blades, and sometimes it's better to fuse 2 broken sticks together to create a new one, something he calls a Frankenstick.
Rather than, toss them in the landfill, I'm actually able to make new sticks that are affordable and usable and nearly as light as the original.
He started out helping his sons, but now has a small business, Stick Medic, repairing sticks often for recreational players. He has his own method using resin, composite fibers, and a steady hand. He charges about $80 for a repair and says he guarantees it won't break in the same place.
Families are getting tired of the breakage and short lifespan of these highly expensive sticks.
Daigle is not sure how big his business will grow, but says it's good to let players know they have options. So if you have an expensive broken stick, you may be able to repair it and get it back in the game.
There are other companies that are now repairing hockey sticks. You can also buy refurbished sticks. They sell for about 30% of the cost of a new one. Most come with a 30-day warranty and could save you money. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
I don't know, it doesn't work for me. Toronto and Vancouver prepare to host the World Cup this summer, and we're getting an idea of just how many visitors are expected to travel for the tournament. Vacation rental platform Airbnb says searches for stays in FIFA host cities have increased by 80% compared to the same period last year. So the company is offering a new cash incentive, $750, to boost the number of listings ahead of the World Cup. This comes amid warnings from travel industry experts that accommodations will be scarce and costs will be high in both cities. How about the price of the farm markets? Let's take a look at your canola. Street price up $3.50 to $624.83 per ton, while the futures price is up $3.20 to $672.60 per ton. Amber durum wheat stayed the same, $278.59 per ton. Red spring wheat is up $1.08 to $263.67 per ton. Feed barley stays the same, $232.01 per ton, while flax is $650.54 per ton. Those prices courtesy of Bunge. Markets, TSX up 205 points. The Dow Jones went the other direction by 267 points. The Canadian dollar, it went up 0.06 of a cent to 73.07 cents US. Commodity front, gold up $18.54. West Texas Intermediate crude up $1.26, while Western Canadian Select crude jumped up by $3.07. Are we going to see a gas jump up? Well, not yet. It's currently sitting at $1.27.9 cents per liter here in Regina.
Apart from the pandemic, this is the widest annual shortfall on record. Data shows annual exports last year saw a drop, but a strong run-up in gold prices might have masked the true damage of the trade war. Exports of gold, silver, and platinum jumped nearly 42%. Exports to the U.S., meanwhile, fell almost 6%. And shares of First Majestic Silver got a boost today after the mining company reported fourth quarter results that beat estimates. The company says revenue jumped 169% due to higher silver prices. First Majestic finished as one of the top performers on the TSX today. And it would appear people aren't drinking as much beer as they used to. Molson Coors logged lower profit and sales in its latest quarter. The company says the sector continues to face significant headwinds as consumers tighten spending and younger generations show less interest in drinking. And those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Next Level Chef is on at 7, followed by a double episode of Sullivan's Crossing, One Big Bang, then E-Talk, and then we'll have your national news at 11, local news with Connor Chen at 11:30. And I don't know what happens after that.
I don't know.
There's a show. I'll let you start.
Okay, thank you. Pixar is out with the official trailer for another long-awaited sequel, Toy Story 5.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace?
It's been too long, cowboy.
Tom Hanks, Tim Allen back as Woody and Buzz Lightyear, along with several other returning and new voices. This time around, the story focuses on the arrival of a new smart tablet. Threatens to monopolize their owner's attention, putting the other toys' futures at risk. Coming 7 years after the release of Toy Story 4, Toy Story 5 hits theaters June 19th. I don't know, I kind of thought Toy Story 4 wrapped it all up, but...
I've only seen one. I didn't know that there were that many more.
There's 4.
Well,
and there's going to be a 5th.
Buckle up.
A well-known piece of 21st century technology is now in a museum.
Oh, no. It's been more than 20 years since YouTube came online, and now a museum in London is preserving part of that history, displaying a reconstruction of YouTube's webpage from 2005. It features the first video ever shown on the platform, Me at the Zoo, and it's a 19-second clip of then 25-year-old YouTube founder talking about elephants. The museum says it took 18 months to rebuild the page. I'm not sure how do you feel about that?
I don't know what I feel about that. I mean, wasn't it like it was a dating site first?
Yeah, I thought that's how it started.
Yeah, but when I go to a museum, I want to see things, like I want to tell people, I want to see things that are old. And then they tell me, look in a mirror, and then I get sad and I leave.
I don't know about today.
It's cold outside, by the way, so please plug in your cars and stay safe if you're outside.
See you tomorrow.
Stay away from museums.